name is Shanique Martin, and I wanted to give my testimony about how the Lord has touched and changed my life. So, growing up, I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I dealt with a lot of abuse growing up. My older brother was physically abusive. He used to beat on me when I was younger. And he would do it whenever my mom was not there and she left him in charge. And then my mother, she had a lot going on and she was abusive in her own way as well. Very, very negative. She was dealing with depression, dealing with mental illness, and she didn't know how to deal with it. But she knew she didn't want to go to the doctor for it because she was afraid that they were going to do something bad to her or something like that. So I was kind of like the caregiver of the family. And so I wanted to get away from that. So I went into the military myself. I grew up in a military family, and then I went into the military also. Um, and in the military, I felt like I had found family, and what my family did was alcohol, party, drugs. So I started doing it too. And that was what I did because it got me to be able to hang out with my family. There were times I didn't. I remember I didn't even want to drink. I didn't even want to go to the club or do anything. I remember being in my bed with the covers over my head and hearing them knock on the door, and I would be like, I just wish they would stop knocking and just leave and just think that I'm not here. But they would not. They would they would knock on the door until I came to that door and went to the club. Anyway, I was kind of searching still for God. I was searching for what love was because I felt like I had never really experienced it. I had only experienced um, giving and gratification for my services, what I was offering people. Um, so I knew that there was a purity, there was a true love out there, and I went searching for it in all these different religions. I went to witchcraft, I went to Taoism, I went to Hinduism, I went to Buddhism, I went to all the isms, and they was not. It wasn't is, it was isn't. And finally, my family was Christian, and so my idea of Christianity was what I saw at home, and then seeing the exact opposite in church for that 1 hour, and then when we got back home, it was terrible. So I thought Christianity and God and Jesus, especially the name Jesus, was terrible. So I had an offense, and in the military, I had a supervisor when I got deployed. We were in Iraq, and he just came against that with the Bible. He knew the Bible. That's what the difference was. He knew the Bible, and every excuse that I came up with, he would come against it with the Bible. And while we were in Iraq, we would do these worship services where it was four of us and we would sing. And when we started singing and started worshiping, I would feel the presence of the Lord. I just didn't know what it was. And then when we would go out on convoys, he would warn me of dangers on the road. And these supernatural things would happen, like bullets. I get shot at and a bullet would miss me, even though I felt the wind come off of the bullet. I rode over some bombs while I was over there, and they didn't go off. And then on the way back, I saw that that same bomb went off for somebody else. Nevertheless, that was my first experience with the Lord. I came back, went right back to the world because I hadn't read the Bible, so I didn't know any better. So, fast forward, I was dealing with PTSD, dealing with all this leftover anguish and stuff from the abuse, dealing with that emptiness. And I ended up coming to Tampa to get close to my dad. And then I started getting these flyers on my door from the river. And soul winners started coming to my door. And they led me to Christ. I went to healing school, got set free of all of that stuff, including the alcoholism. And the Lord has supernaturally just brought me up and put me in a position where now I'm in a job where I'm setting other people free of that same thing, the PTSD, the alcohol, the drugs. And I'm giving them that same love, that same plan that sets them free of those things that they dealt with their entire lives. And I'm so grateful because, like, before this, I didn't know who I was. And now the Lord has given me a new identity through Him.